Let's talk.
Giles Brown.
A new Garbology manifesto. This book offers an updated version of the Garbology, the Archaeology of Garbage. Now, I didn't know this was a thing, but I'm about to get my brain expanded. I'm about to find out there's going to be a whole new quiver to my arrows, because joining me live on the line is the author of a new Garbology manifesto, and that is Leila Papoli-Yazdi. Good morning to you, Leila.
Good morning.
Thank
you for having me.
The pleasure is all mine. And just because listeners, I can see Leila, and I just want to say her studio looks very, very clean, very spick, very span. I can see no rubbish, as we Brits would call it.
Yes. So it's good. It's good.
It's good. Yeah. So explain, because forgive my ignorance, but I wasn't aware. There's a lot of people do. I wasn't aware that Garbology was. What is Garbology then, please?
So in 1973, an American archaeologist called William Rastri, he tried something very new, and he did what we call it garbology today, or the archaeology of waste or garbage. So he used the methodology of and techniques of archaeology to excavate landfills. And it was very successful because at the time there were many questions, about landfills, consumption routines, and what and how American people actually consume. And then he could, but actually I can say by excavating these landfills, he could gather lots of information. And one of this information, which is very important, is about the habits of people, the behaviors of people, that they actually buy something, use something, consume something, and dispose of something. And when you have these patterns, you can actually dive into many other things. Like you can see the poverty, you can see economic statuses of people, you can see which are the things which are being disposed of much more than the other things. So you can help people to consume less and to have a better economy. And then, after that, he continued doing it like other archaeologists. Today, I cannot actually claim that there are many archaeologists doing garbology because it's a dirty thing. So we archaeologists, we really like to be Indiana Jones, to work in the museums and so on. Yeah, but garbology is not like this. So because of that, many people, they don't have any information about the archaeology of garbage. Yes.
Here's the thing, because I hadn't thought about this before, but as a society, as a culture, we are, we're always saying, well, and you're an archaeologist. So it's like, okay, well, we have the blue gates of Babylon here, or we've got, we found these tablets from Assyria or something like that. But maybe we are defined by not what we keep, but what we throw away.
Yeah, actually, there are many things. When excavate, even aside from the past, usually we find things that people, they didn't need it anymore. So they put it there and they left the settlement forever. It's like when you are moving from your apartment to another apartment. So you collect the things that are valuable to you, or like money and cash, and even photo albums that you like, and then these thing or that thing. But you leave sometimes things that you don't
coat hangers. So we're finding the coat hangers of the Sumatrians, are we basically?
Yeah. So when it's about the past, we can use the same pattern. So there are some sites like Pompeii that it was actually buried under tons of rubber, and after the volcano was actually active. So then it's very exceptional because you can find all the bodies of people and everything in situ. But in other cases, it's not like this. You cannot find the things in the place and also the bodies in that condition. So usually there are the things that people, they didn't need these things anymore. They threw it, disposed of, and then they left the area forever. And then we archaeologists, we, come after years or centuries and then excavate the things. Yeah.
I think that's quite good because, I mean, we think, when you think archaeology, you kind of think, either you think Indiana Jones and the dustbin of doom or something like that, Raiders of the Lost Garbage, Raiders of the Lost Garbage, or you think of people finding, I don't know, like Sutton Hoo, for example, those sort of brilliant early Middle Ages burial grounds and stuff like that. But you don't think about the everyday, you don't think about the coffee cup broken, put aside, and there must be things like that offer a look. But it's not just a look at Garbology, is it? I mean, it's a look about your personal situation. You're talking to me from Sweden today. That's correct? Yeah.
Yes.
And obviously, you're originally you're from Iran, and it's the whole which is somewhat in our thoughts at the moment.
Yes.
So, and also the way that you have come to archaeology. So, explain how you sort of mold that together in a narrative, as it were.
Yeah. So, I want to explain it because when we are talking about things or even concepts that are being discarded by a society, we are not only thinking about objects. It can be like communities or even people that we are very unkind to them, and then we actually put them aside, or we don't want to hear their voices. So their voices are completely overlooked. And also, there is actually like a connection, a very strong connection between the place that we put our garbage there, like landfills, and we don't want to see them, and those very poor people whose subsistence and economy is based on garbage. And in that book, actually, the book has like at least 3 layers. And I have discussed myself, as a person who was discarded by her own society, and afterward as a person from global south in the global north. I never, find myself in a prominent, great, academia. I was not accepted like that. So you feel that you are being marginalized. I see my own self as a person who was actually disposed of as well. And there are many, many, many other people like me. There are communities who are poor, impoverished, communities that they are experiencing scarcity, economic problems, difficulties that today you see that it's very challenging. And I can say that it's why it's the reason I really like Garbology, because at the same time you can see objects and people and communities and overlooked voices, in the same platform, and you can use the same technique and methodology to understand them.
The thing is, you see, because and I was lucky enough. I went to an international school in the 80s, and so I was lucky enough to be educated with a bunch of Iranians who had left in '79. The food, I will just say, is incredible. The people, and I was at a function only the other night with a large community of the diaspora. But we look at people who have to flee their countries, by economically, socially, politically, and it might seem a facile leap for some people, but we look at them perhaps as refuse rather than refugees, and it becomes this thing about why should you leave your country? But for those many of as a European, as a Westerner, I'm lucky to be able to do what I do. But there are several parts of the world where you cannot do what you do, and you're educated, but you're marginalised. And that must and we think of things in broad, easy brushstrokes. Well, without looking at they leave. Why can't they stay? Because it's very dangerous to stay.
Yeah. And I want to say that it's a place is dangerous to stay because there are powerful people like in the global north usually that they see other countries or communities as they dump, the landfills. Like for years, powerful countries, they have actually discarded their own waste and exported them to other countries such as Philippines, for example, or Ghana, or even Turkey. And now you see like a big, or India, and then you see like these big landfills, very dirty cities. And whenever it comes to that question that why these cities are like this, and they are like very polluted areas, and then like the people from global the powerful people like the politicians and so these are like the third world countries and so on. But you see that it's not the fault of those people, it's the fault of colonizers usually. And the other thing is that now it has actually become more expanded, because you see that even they are using countries or communities or regions like Gaza or Sudan or Iran as their places to dump their bombs. So again, you see the same cycle. So in this case, you can see garbage, as a very, very expanded, big concept. It's not just a thing you can find in your household bin, but also you can find in other places.
But the thing is, it is, and excuse the pun, it's a dirty secret, because the West, people might be stunned to learn that, the large barges of containers go to other parts of the world, like they said, Ghana, to dump our waste. Because you just think it goes in a blue cycling bin. I've done my bit for the planet. And the only time that we will hear of something like the Philippines, Garbage City in the Philippines or in South America, is when there's a rainfall and there's a landslide and 20 people are killed, and we all go, oh, how terrible. And then we kind of think, yeah, but, why are they living on like that? And we don't think to ask how we have got here, Leila.
Yes. Okay. This is a big problem here, because we don't feel connected to them. Even I am from a more privileged community in Iran. So I'm from the middle class background, as I have mentioned in that book. And I'm from a city. I was born in France, and I am more privileged. And many people from my status, they want to ignore the voices of the other people who are ignored, or we can't see them usually, because they are living in very poor areas or poor places, or even their economy is based on collecting garbage and so on. So I want to use this a very powerful sentence that waste is very political. So when we are talking about waste, it's not just about lifestyle, but it's about also political decisions and issues.
So waste is a political issue. How do we change this then? Because this book is a call to action through an archaeological lens. So what are you meaning by the archaeological lens? Because we all know that we have to recycle. We should be, but I get people saying, yeah, but I do my recycling, but what difference is that going to make? But it's more than that window dressing, is it? I presume, Leila.
Yes. So one of the things that this book is inviting people to do is to listen to overlooked voices. So when I'm talking about overlooked, silenced voices, it's not only the voices of human beings, but environment, but objects, and also things, because more than 50% of the things that you usually find in a landfill, they are still usable. They are still edible, but people have discarded them because of some reasons. And if we look at them, we think about them, we can find a solution to bring them back to the society. And it's also true about the human beings. I myself, in maybe 50-60% of my life, feel that I'm overlooked and my voice is not being heard. Yeah. So, if someone like you and your audience listen to me, then we can create a dialogue. And it's I think that a tool that that Garbology and archaeology, they have both in their hands. You go to a museum, you see like a cup used by a person like 1,000 years ago, and then you feel connected to that person. Even if you can't see that person, the person, has been died like for centuries. Still you feel that, it has been made by a person. So it's a very great tool in the hand of archaeology to objectify the things that usually we ignore. And it brings it, like in front of people and tell you that, so this community which has been ignored and you can't hear their voices, it doesn't mean that they don't have any voice. They create things, they have trash, they have their own houses. So come and create the dialogue. And because of that, in the last chapter of the book, you find this manifesto. It's like how you say, patchwork, or like a collage. So made of different voices, you can say.
Because this is not just you saying this is what we have to do, but also there are detailed case studies. So are these just from a particular area, or is it similar from all over the world, and all over the world where it's not, as you say, the global north?
Yeah. So for me, I'm very much interested to see the poor areas of any city I go to. And when I went to Athens, and I learned it from a colleague, and then I went to Acropolis, and then I just visited these beautiful areas. But this person came to me and said that, okay, I can show you another side of the city. And then we went to a poor area of Athens. And I found like, it was very alive. People were living. They had their own subsistence. I could communicate with the people. But it's these two sides of a city. And then when you put them together, you have a better picture of a city. So as I told you, I found, and I have mentioned in that book, I found global south of the north and north of the south. So every city in the global south they have their own very privileged and affluent area, well-off areas. So it's not like every person or every place in the global south that are poor and they don't have any voice. And also it's not about the south, the north. So I think that like a person like me from global south, I should know not all the people living in Europe or the States or Canada, for example, or Australia, they are privileged or they have enough money and so on. And when I have this, I can be kinder. I can connect with those people who also they feel marginalized. And I think that is a policy to when you divide people, put them in boxes from global south, from global north. So we don't communicate. We don't find each other to build a conversation. So I use Garbology to do that. I go to poor areas, I collect the garbage, I talk with people, I try to make their economy better. And through this, I also find my own people, my own community and dialogue. Yes.
The book is called A New Garbology Manifesto. It is by Leila Papoli-Yazdi. What are you hoping that people will learn from the book? Is it to open dialogue? What are you hoping was the aim, and what are you hoping people will discover?
Yes. So I think that there are two things that I really like people to actually learn from this book. I don't want to use the word learn, but I want they to consider or they pay attention.
Consider is an excellent word, yeah.
Yeah. The one thing is that I think Garbology is a technique in archaeology that every person they can learn themselves. So you can also today you can go home and then excavate your own garbage bin. So you can say, today I have discarded too much bread, for example. I can keep it in mind. Tomorrow when I'm in the shop, then I can actually buy a fair piece of bread, and then I can have a kind of a plan for that. So it can help you, and usually it helps to have a better economy. I mean, in the beginning, you don't see it much big. I was, it's like 2 or 3 loaves of bread, but at the end of a month or a year, you see that, especially for people from working classes and middle classes. So it's one thing. And the second thing is the concept of disposable people, like people who have been ignored. When you are walking, in the streets, and then you see a homeless person, you see a person who is poor, you see a person because of any reason you don't want to have a contact with, then think that why this person has been disposed of. Why this person? I mean, all people, they have their own talents, they have their own background. I say, why this person? Their life actually ended up here. So maybe you can learn, you can communicate, you can have it in your mind. So it are these two things that I really want people to pay attention when they are reading this book. Yeah, thank you.
The book is called A New Garbology Manifesto. It is by Leila Papoli-Yazdi, who we're speaking to today. Leila, if people want to find you online, is there social media? Do you have a website? Where can people find you and say great things to you?
Yes, so if they Google my name, they can. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I can say that I'm very active, but every day I check my messages. Also, they can find me on Garbonomics. It's a startup that actually we are doing Garbology in it. So it's garbonomics.com, and also it has its own social media.
Garbonomics.com. I love that. That's absolutely wonderful. And listeners, you can go onto our website. You'll see the picture of the crow could be a raven with so rather, I like the illustration. Click on that and the book will be winging its way to you by a well-known delivery service. The book is called A New Garbology Manifesto. It is by Leila Papoli-Yazdi. Leila, thank you so much for your time today.
You're very much welcome, and bye.